You're listening to the 808s and Joysticks podcast, now available on iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and iHeartRadio.
Welcome to the E3 coverage special of 808s and Joysticks. In this show, we will be discussing EA Play 2019. I'm Tairell, and joining me for this special, as always, is Tom.
Yeah, so we're going to get right into the details of everything that was covered within EA Play 2019 from E3. And straight away, kicking off the bat, the biggest thing and the most exciting thing coming out of this conference, personally for me, and I think for a lot of people, is the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order gameplay, which we've finally seen now. And it looks good, you know. There seems to be good sort of action sequences there. There's a good combat system in place by the looks of it. It's very fitting to Star Wars, you could say. You know, you have the lightsabers, you have the blocking of the lightsabers, something that, you know, Battlefront 2 didn't have at the start for a lot of characters. So they've obviously, you know, worked on that. This is something that EA are doing, trying to make the Star Wars brand a bit better for themselves. Not to be confused that Battlefront 2 and Fallen Order are made by two different companies under EA. But Respawn look to have done a good job with this game, and there seems to be a lot of story behind it as well, and they tried to make it cinematic is what it looks like. So I'd probably say for me it looks a little bit like an Uncharted with lightsabers. I don't.
Yeah, I definitely. It's kind of crazy that you said that, because I had down on my show notes that it was Uncharted style gameplay, with a Sekiro style of like system as well. Talk about Sekiro, you know, what's the full version? The full version. What is the full title of that game again?
Sekiro Shadows died twice.
Yeah. Shadows died twice. That's what it really reminded me of when I first seen it as well, like with the whole parrying system and the whole blocking system, how, you know, the enemy had like a kind of like a guard meter, and if you got the guard meter down, that could lead to like a finishing blow much faster than, you know, just attacking them whenever they're unguarded, which is a really cool way of like as I had in my show notes as well, like the combat looks satisfying, like really, really satisfying. Like the payoff seems good to what you're actually doing in combat. And I think that's really important to convey that within a single player Star Wars game, because I feel like other studios in the past have had like struggles with doing that, and I love how they've got the Force. Like they haven't tried to kind of like highlight the Force as in like some type of like Force, like you can see it, like they've just made it invisible, which I really like. I like the look of. I'm just doing that in comparison to I think the Force Unleashed, like your Force was like kind of like a bluish kind of purple color, whereas I feel like the Force isn't never really like that. So in the films is not. I don't know, am I wrong?
No, that's correct. Yeah.
So yeah, I thought like the attention to detail was really astonishing, and also Forrest Whitaker's in it as well. I was kind of like, what the hell? Like, I don't know if you like noticed that at the beginning that like Forrest Whitaker was just came out of nowhere. Like,
not really, no, but I do know that a lot of stuff that's been carried over from like some of the Star Wars films is in this game. So
Forrest Whitaker's character, from Rogue One. His character from Rogue One is starring in there. So I know I think it's set like after there. I'm not quite sure because I didn't watch Rogue One, but I know you did. So
so Rogue One is set in between. So it's at the end of episode 3 and before. Well, it's basically just before episode 4, A New Hope. So
it's just after Order 66 was done, isn't it? Like, yeah.
But they are, by the looks of it, sort of playing into that quite a lot. So there's a lot of in Rogue One, there was a droid called K2SO, which was played by Alan Tudyk, and that's a droid that appears in this game as well. Not the same droid, but like the same model of droid appears in this game. So it shows that they're keeping a lot of stuff like canon and trying to keep it as canon as possible to some of the newer movies that are based on the actual original films as well. So it's a bit confusing to say that, but you know it does make sense. The other thing that I liked was the droid companion you have with you.
Oh yeah, looked really, really nice. Really cool how that kind of just works like in tandem with you. Like it doesn't seem like you have to make it do anything or press any buttons. Not by the looks of it anyway. It just seemed like real smooth gameplay. Like it's just nice transitional set pieces within the game, and I was quite blown away. I thought, wow, like EA might actually deliver, but we've seen stuff like this before, and I'm reserving my judgments because Anthem also looked quite good, and we've seen how that turned out. So
I think it will be better than Anthem, but there are some concerns for me looking at the 15 minutes of gameplay we saw. Some of the main concerns that I've got is the levels where you have a lot of rotating objects and you can use your force power to stop them for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Now, it's all good for this demo, but in 15 minutes of gameplay, we saw a lot of that. And in a full game that's, probably 10 to 15 hours long worth of content, if you're doing that a lot of the time, it's going to get quite repetitive and quite boring. And that it will break the immersion, really, of using the Force, I think. Because, yeah, I understand why they've done it. It makes sense. But to do it all the time, to base your levels around that, you know, that's not what Star Wars is. You don't really see a lot of people using the Force to stop rotating gears and stuff all the time. That's not really what you use it for.
Yeah, I understand. I guess this is where, like, sometimes games, adapting films or books or things like that into games can kind of like fail because you have to put certain gamification features within a setting like that wouldn't be natural to the film, that all wouldn't be conveyed in the films. As you said, that you don't see like the Force being used that much, but within a game, you obviously the Forces will probably be treated as like you can somehow recharge it or something. I'm not quite sure. We've never seen a Force bar. Well, not that I'd remember anyway. So I don't know if the Force is unlimited, but it can't be unlimited. So I don't know how that works. I've seen something about you can get skill points, so maybe it's to do with that. And there's like a duration time maybe on your Force and how long you can use it for. I'm not quite sure, but I've been recently playing Dead Space, which is another EA game. That was done by a studio that's been shut down now. And they have something similar like that on there where you have a stasis where you can slow things down. And it does get quite repetitive, but you don't really tend to use it that much, like only when you really need to. So I kind of understand where it's coming from, but at the same time, relating it to a Star Wars film, no, you don't see that much. So I can see where that could really fail to live up to the story and the lore.
Mm-hmm. The things that I have as positives are, like we've mentioned before, the combat, the story, the aesthetic, the environment, all of that looks very good, very nice, fits to the story. But then again, like the cons we've just spoke about, sort of repetitiveness, using of the Force maybe. Some of the enemies, again, like a bit repetitive, you know. I know it's stormtroopers, but you always keep seeing the stormtrooper that's, you know, the black stormtrooper with the purple laser sort of stick.
Yeah.
How realistic that would be in a film, I'm not sure. It seems like they've been put in there as a harder character, which makes sense, but you have to give more variation than just that. I know it's to show the player that it's harder, but you know, if that's going to be for a long time in the game, then there needs to be some sort of change in that.
Like, I understand. Like, it's like, yeah, there's just a lot of, we're going to do this, we're going to fight this group of enemies, and then set piece, and then I kind of understand where you're coming from. Like, it kind of works more of an Uncharted setting, but like, you're kind of expecting a little bit more. Like, hopefully when they start showing off, like, maybe like flying and stuff like that, and maybe the world a little bit more, and how you can travel from area to area, it might give a bit more context to the combat and the story overall, because obviously that's not the only enemies we're going to see, because I liked how they switched up a little bit and you had to fight the giant spiders.
See, so, I didn't like that.
You didn't like that? Why?
It's very rare. I don't think I've ever seen a giant spider in any of the Star Wars films. I mean, I understand why they've done it, but again, for me, that feels like the Anthem sort of thing, where Anthem was, yeah, you had these things, but they just were like, what, you didn't really know why they were there. They were just there because it's a harder enemy and it's a bigger enemy.
Do you think maybe this might be a flop?
I don't think it'll be a flop. I think it'll be a successful game.
Do you think it's just going to be average though?
I think it's not the Star Wars game that everyone's hoping it was going to be. The thing is when you've got the combat using a lightsaber to cut down a stormtrooper, if you cut through them, you know, there's still their body doesn't split in half. I know that's a lot to ask, but a lot of games do that. Now, you're using a laser sword to chop someone in half. We see it in the movies. Why it can't be done in game, I don't know. It's not as if they're a limited studio. This is one of the biggest studios we're talking about. Much smaller studios have done medieval games where you can chop limbs off and chop people in half.
Oh, there's like that VR game that everyone plays that like you can easily chop people in half and stab them and take their head off, and yeah, and it's like so you can see the insides and stuff like that. So,
which is, I mean, I understand you wouldn't be able to see any of that graphically because it's Star Wars, it's family friendly, but chopping someone in half, maybe they made that cut for age restriction issues, but it seems unlikely because there's a lot of violence in it anyway. So
yeah, like, come on now, we see people getting shot, dying, all sorts of stuff happens in Star Wars. We see incest, like, yeah, and that's a child film. Like, those are some real heavy topics, to be honest. So, I don't know how to really feel about it, but
I'm looking forward to wait. I will get it and play it.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it as well. And yeah, launches on November the 15th. And also, did you say it's going to be a part of Game Pass on launch?
I'm not sure. I don't think.
I feel like I did see that on when I was watching the Microsoft Xbox YouTube thing. I think it will be on Game. A lot of things are on Game Pass. So, but we'll talk about that in the Microsoft special. Mm-hmm. But moving on, EA really didn't have many things, so we're gonna try and talk as much as we can. But it was pretty boring, and I didn't really care much about anything else other than Star Wars. Like, where should we start? Apex Legends, maybe? Like, yeah, I mean, to be honest, can we really say?
I didn't really pay too much attention to the Apex Legends stuff. I know the game's pretty big now. A lot of people are interested in it, but for me, it's not really sort of. I played it a few times, but I never really got into it. And I know like Season 2's coming now, Battle Charge, whatever that is. It says there's a chance to earn stuff like new skins and stuff. It's going to introduce a new rifle, which is carried over from Titanfall 2. So there's a nice little throw in there.
Yeah.
Because obviously Respawn are making this as well. So Respawn have been quite busy.
Yeah, they have been quite busy. Yeah.
But there's also some new sort of hop-up mods apparently. So I'm not sure what they are, but it's going to make the Mozambique usable, and it's going to feature daily and weekly challenges, which we sort of already had anyway. You sort of knew that was going to be a thing anyway. But there's apparently going to be some big things in store. So like a brief clip showed what some of the legends flying past the gigantic eye of a huge creature in one of the canyons. So it looks like they're taking the Fortnite approach and changing things up each season by including more stuff and changing the map and everything like that. Which is probably a good thing, because out of all the battle royales that started, Fortnite is the one that's still sort of keeping going with that theme and doing successful doing that.
Yeah. Like, to be honest, like, where is PUBG now? Like, do people play that game still? Or is that just totally been...
People still play it, but mainly for esports now. It seems to have dropped off a lot since what it used to be. Especially considering it's not free to play and it's up against two juggernauts now in Apex and Fortnite.
Yeah, and they are both free to play and dynamically change their game, like,
exactly.
monthly.
It's like having a new game each month for people that love this game.
Yeah, it is really. That's what you call live services. I don't want to hear like EA somehow managing to put it off. Well, I think that's because Respawn, after Titanfall 1, didn't take any shit from EA anymore, and they do all on their own mostly. So they're developing it, and they have EA doing the distribution, like the publishing side of it. So they kind of have control over what they're doing. Yeah, Apex, don't really have much to say about it. I don't really play it. I played it once, and I just thought I don't really have a lot of time to invest in a game like this, so I'm not going to probably play this again. So, but it is cool though. It is a cool game. And yeah, as I said, EA really didn't have much. Quite surprising that there was a lack of any Anthem talk at all. Like, they did not mention the game, I don't think, once.
Yeah, well, so it's not surprising considering they've scrapped the roadmap for that again.
Like, what does that mean for the game? Does that mean that they're just going to bury it then? Because it sounds like they're going to bury it.
I think it means they're going to look at the roadmap again and do a better roadmap. I
was thinking either they're going to bury this game here, or it's going to be another Evolve. So it's going to go free to play, and then it's just going to die.
Well, it could be another ET if they get... Well, luckily everything's digital now, so you don't have to bury the copies.
So I have to bury the copies. Well, as I said, like... No, not Anthem. I think it's Fallout 76. That was being given away when you brought a new controller in Germany. So maybe we'll just get to that point where, like, you buy, like, a controller and you get Anthem for free.
That wouldn't surprise me. It would actually do well as a free-to-play game, not a paid game.
No, yeah, that's true. If you want to do that, if you want to do your whole live services and let's treat AAA games as a fucking mobile game and throw it out there and make it riddled with grinding and microtransactions and loot boxes, then feel free. But make it free if you're going to do that. Make people pay for something then if they want that feature, but don't charge people $60 or $80 for like a super deluxe edition. I guess you're like 2 weeks early, into the game, and then just release a lackluster product. It's just disgusting, and it's a really horrible business practice that's becoming the norm, and we need to stop it before it gets too far.
Well, on that topic, linking to Anthem obviously not being announced anything here, Destiny 2 is going to be free to play soon, so
yeah,
it would have been a good time for them to say something regarding Anthem, but they didn't. So the game, as much as it was dead, pretty much looks dead and buried now. Like, I think it's done.
Because Destiny, like, Bungie doing that announcement for Destiny was like the nail in the coffin, because Destiny was already had a good fan base, and now that Bungie's going to be doing the publishing and the developing side of it, that just goes to show that, like, the game is probably going to be much better without Activision at the helm of everything, calling all the shots and making it into a shitty game. Hopefully Bungie makes it into, like a MMO Halo, which would be just crazy. So, yeah, it looks promising. They're even releasing, like, some crazy, like, like new storyline and everything for when it goes free to play. I actually might try it out again because I heard it's a lot different now. So I might try it out again when it goes free to play. See if I can get in on Destiny.
Get on the grind.
Yeah, well, that's just like we're just talking about. We're not even talking about EA anymore because that's how boring their like thing was. It was so long. How long was it again, Tom? Like 4 hours?
It's 3 hours and 45 minutes for all.
That doesn't. No, they tried to do the Sony route, didn't they? And like try and show off games, like, but it don't work. It does not work.
Yeah, there's not
for
enough
EA.
stuff to show off.
Yeah.
Just quickly, stuff that we're probably not going to mention, but that was announced. The Sims 4 Island Living expansion pack. Now, I play The Sims from time to time, but I'm not really that interested in discussing the Island Living expansion pack in a lot of detail. I know you probably don't care about it that much either, so it would. Well,
when I seen it, I was just like I don't know, but it's kind of cool because like they said they've got like a conservationist job on there, which is like incentivizes you to clean up the beach, which is kind of like, okay, maybe like it would teach like kids and young people to like clean up areas and stuff like that. That's a good thing, I guess. But apart from that, like I don't know, like I don't know who plays The Sims anymore. It's a weird area. Like people like our age like play The Sims, but then younger people play The Sims, then really older people play The Sims. So it has like quite a varied.
It's a casual gaming experience.
Yeah, I know that a ton of features have been stripped out of The Sims like over the years. Like Sims 3 apparently is like the best Sims still. Like, and a lot of people still play that Sims 2. So, yeah, Sims 4 like it's cool, I guess. Like they're gonna have Machino clothes in there and Realm of Magic, which I guess is going to be the next game pack. So I don't know. If you like Sims, there you go. You got the Island Living expansion. You could be a mermaid. So yeah, I think that what else do we have? We've got FIFA. Now you're our resident football guy, so you just watched the PES gameplay reveal, which is a shit show, by the way. Konami, fix your whole company. Yeah, so can you give me a bit of a comparison between the two gameplays, and then we can get in on this fucking weird FIFA Street spiritual successor that's only online only because EA just wants to fuck us all.
We can't because we didn't see any gameplay for FIFA, even though they have demo kits there. But you know, the Volta mode is interesting. I know that it's a successor to FIFA Street, as they say. To me, it looks like they've looked at NBA and the street mode in NBA and just sort of took from that because that earns a lot of money and gone, we could do that.
My Park or whatever.
Yeah. Is it going to be as good? I don't think so. I remember when they rebooted FIFA Street on the 360.
That was
2014,
trash.
2013. It wasn't the same.
Trash.
And this looks like it's going to do the same thing because they're using the same FIFA mechanics, but within a different mode. Now that's okay, but the reason why FIFA Street was so successful is because it completely changed how you played the game. It wasn't like playing FIFA. It focused on just street football, and they're meant to have sort of took this into consideration this time, but whether they have or not, I'm not sure. It basically just seems like they're create a pro, so you create a player for yourself and then take them onto the street and make teams play with people. I don't know, do tournaments, stuff like that. Earn possibly some currency to improve your player to get better kit, better something. It's going to be something like that along the lines of My Park in NBA. So I'm not sure. I think it's going to get hyped up a lot because of FIFA Street being behind it. But realistically, if that's the only change they've made, which is what they've announced, and the new ball physics system, focus on 1v1 face-offs, reduced AI defense support for higher skilled players. Doesn't seem like a lot of changes really for a yearly thing, but we'll have to wait and see. PES, on the other hand, we did see some actual gameplay. The menus look to be improved, although not drastically improved. It's an improvement upon last year. They still keep the same Japanese style. The gameplay is relatively the same, but it's been tweaked, so there is very sort of minor improvements that help the game, but it doesn't make it worse than last year. It just improves upon what last year did. So I think, again, on the pitch, for me, PES is looking better this year. They seem to have done some updates for Master League and online play as well. So they've definitely looked into that. They've also not signed Iniesta, but they've got Iniesta in on a contract for, I think, 3 or 4 years, they were saying.
They couldn't stop talking about Iniesta though. Like, how much shit were they talking on? They were literally eating Iniesta's dick on there. They loved it. They loved him. They were like, Iniesta, there's like his eye for detail. I was like, Iniesta's not a game designer. So what are you talking about? Like,
he's not, but they brought him into, I don't know, they brought him into like see over the movement of the player and see how natural the AI and the movement.
Why Iniesta though? Why Iniesta though?
Because he's based in Japan now.
What? Why? Does he play in the Japanese league? Team?
Yeah.
Oh, so fuck! I didn't know.
Basically, because they've got a partnership with Barcelona, which they have now made into a global partnership, and Iniesta has obviously worked with them before and then gone to Japan, and their development offices are all based in Japan. It seems like a good fit, I think, for them. So it hopefully will benefit the game long term. We'll have to wait and see, but it does show that they're focusing on gameplay more than gimmicks. Yeah, they didn't mention My Club, their Ultimate Team version, at all in the stream today. Although obviously they'll mention it later on. But saying that, FIFA didn't even mention Ultimate Team either. So I think that we're probably going to see that move away now that loot boxes aren't a thing anymore in a lot of places. We're going to start seeing sports games move away from that Ultimate Team area or try and improve upon that in some way. But this is sort of why I think Volta's come in as the new online mode to replace Ultimate Team.
Well, EA's already, it's already kind of been decided by some of the governing bodies in Europe that they are no longer allowed to sell packs or anything anymore on Ultimate Team. So they've already lost a lot of money in some of these territories. So it only makes sense for them to create a new online system that is able to generate them probably close to the same amount of money. We've taken the Ultimate Team system kind of into like a free system where you can just kind of like, just buy Ultimate Team with as much money as you want. Kind of like that. Like you just have you can set a budget. A little bit like Football Manager. Like you can set a budget and things like that. Maybe they will try and make it into a more of like a offline experience, what can be online. So I can see that happening. I can definitely see something like that happening. But as I said, FIFA, I took a look at a little bit of gameplay and it doesn't look too much different to the past 4 years. Like I really don't know what the difference is in the game. Like at least with PES, I'd see the differences, and I still don't know how it isn't a better game. But as I said, as you always say, it's always due to the licenses and people wanting to play with their players, and everyone's always like, oh, why we don't want to play in PES where they haven't even got the real team names, which isn't really much of a problem anymore. So I don't know. I really don't know, but that's about it really, except for, do you want to really get into like Battlefield 5 and Madden real quick? Because
we need to just discuss over it, but again, there didn't seem to be too much for we'll start with Madden. So too much coming out of Madden for this, I don't think. there's like new. Obviously, well, you probably don't play Madden.
Nah.
I play Madden occasionally. So there's new X Factor abilities which are brought in, which are new abilities for the best players in the league. So they're updated based on real world stats, stuff like that. Looks okay. Whether it adds anything to the game, I'm not sure. It adds more arcadey feel to it, which is good for the arcadey style of people, but you can pick your play style in Madden, so you can pick to play arcade or simulation. So, depending on how you play, it might benefit you more than someone else.
That should be an option in every sports game.
Yeah, well, it's quite a good actual feature they've got. Yeah, the Madden franchise is a good game, but some of the backing behind some of the stuff, like last year, a bit risky. But hopefully they learned from last year, and we'll see coming into this year if it's actually going to be good or not. There does seem to be, I think there was something new with the scenario engine. So you can create like different scenarios to challenge your player, which improves their ranking, like their ratings in single player mode, which used to be like Be a Pro, and it's now called Face of the Franchise. So that's the new sort of mode they've got. And my guess is for that you get drafted into a franchise and become like the star player of that franchise. So you're then the face of that franchise. And it all links to, I think it's Patrick Mahomes, who is their Patrick Mahomes, who is their cover star this year, who plays for, I can't remember who he plays for. But anyway, he's a young quarterback that's just come into the league, and he is now the face of that franchise. So that all links in. It's quite a nice sort of thing that they've put in there. And then Battlefield, you're probably better to talk about this than me. So
with Battlefield, really. Also, Madden sounds cool, but by your explanation, doesn't really sound like much has changed to the game. Just little buffs here and there. For the Madden series is so big, like that has its own thing outside of like FIFA, which is just as big, really, like because American football is so big. I guess it's kind of cool. I may try and attempt to play Madden like one time just to see how it is, but I don't really know much about American football. Like, not really that interested in it, but cool, I guess, if you like that game. With Battlefield 5, this is like the last thing, because EA just didn't have anything. They had like some indie titles that they were showing off, but not really like focusing on anything else except for like these few games. And with Battlefield 5, it's gonna have like a new chapter. That's what they're calling like their maps. Which is like coming in July. It's got another map as well that's coming in June, and then has like, it says it focuses on World War II Pacific theater between American and Japanese forces, with conflicts taking place on Iwo Jima. They have like a couple new units. I don't really know how their release schedule works, because I'm not sure if this is just maps or if it's adding to story mode as well. I'm not quite sure, but it says it also has some quality of life changes also coming to Battlefield 5, which increase the max rank from 50 to 500, and private servers will also be available in the near future. So I guess Battlefield 5 sounds pretty good if you still want to play it, but the new COD looks pretty fucking sick though. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Have you seen the trailer for Modern Warfare? The remake.
Mm-hmm.
It looks pretty fire. Like, I won't lie.
Yeah, I think like obviously it's not EA related, but competitor to Battlefield, something we've just spoke about then. while they are introducing a lot of new stuff into it, Modern Warfare does look like it's going to take the edge on that one again. Even as someone that's not into FPS that much, it's very reminiscent of the days when everyone used to play Modern Warfare, and you get a lot of people coming back to that game just for that game, not including the fact that it looks very good as well.
Yeah, and I heard like something like no DLC, no something, like they said a bunch of things that they weren't including in the game, and it was going to have a single player and a multiplayer as well. So that sounds pretty exciting, and it looked really insane. I'm just saying that I was surprised that there's not a middle Battlefield or a new Battlefield or anything like that that's been announced. So I'm guessing they're going to run Battlefield 5 for another year. So it seems to be doing good. And then I guess they're going to announce a new Battlefield probably next year now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's really EA. Thoughts about EA, just little sentence, and maybe what should we do? Should we give it a rating? Should we do out of 10?
Yeah, we normally give a rating out of 10. Again, this wasn't really a conference for me. It's EA Play, so it's their own thing, but it's a whole day of just random stuff they're showing off. But it's a bit dragged out for me. There wasn't enough material there to get me excited, or there wasn't that much gameplay. We've seen some gameplay for Star Wars. The other games are already released. The only unreleased games we didn't see gameplay for, like FIFA 20 and Madden 20. So realistically, I'm gonna go for a 4, I think. And that's with Star Wars pushing it up even more. Because
wow.
there was nothing to it, and even the stuff I'm interested in, like FIFA and Madden and Star Wars, it didn't grasp my attention. There was nothing there that made it interesting to watch. You want to watch it short, and you want to watch it and be short and quick and be done with, and then focus on what you've watched after, not get drip fed information every now and then, because no one's got 5 hours to sit there throughout the day and deal with that.
Yeah, exactly. I it was just a really, really long, drawn out EA Play conference, whatever you want to call it, and I didn't really find it that impressive. As I said, Star Wars is really cool. That's about it, really. Yeah, I give it probably I give it a 5, because the Star Wars gameplay was nice to see, and hopefully they stick to. I want it to be like that at retail, and I'm hopeful. So, well, not really, because it's EA. No, I take that back. I'm not hopeful. I'm just going to be apprehensive to see what this is going to turn out as. So, I give it a 5. No, a 4.5 out of 10. So I give it. That's about it, really. EA E3, 2019. Thanks for listening.
If you liked any of the music in today's show, then please check the credits in the description to see what songs we used.